So hello, Mandee.
Hello, Crystal. I'm so excited that you're tuning in from a completely different vibrational plane.
I am. And it's really funny because I was sitting out here today. First off, I've spent only a couple days here. We got here like Saturday, I'll say Saturday morning, like 3 o'clock. And so I didn't really have time to do stuff, but we woke up and we did some stuff, just kind of went to the San Francisco area, went over the bridge, all the fun stuff. Um, but it's got such a cool vibe, and I'm really excited because it's different from what I'm used to, and I think that that's literally what I've been talking about for a long time. I needed to uproot myself and kind of feel some different vibes. I cannot believe, Mandee, how incredibly polite and like generous and happy people are around here. It is
How nice is that your
crazy.
experience?
Everywhere we go, people just are like, hey, have a great day. Hey, what are you doing today? Why are you here? Like, blah, blah, blah. We've got this going on. We hope you have an awesome time. And I'm like, what? So I'm not used to that. Even my son, hi, Sophia. Even my son is like, what is this nonsense, this voodoo happening around us?
All this
Because
positivity. What?
no, it's a neat experience, and I'm sure we're gonna run into stuff at some point, but it's got me dazzled. I'm not gonna lie, I love it here. Hi,
Oh,
Glenda, how are you?
hi,
Jennifer.
Glenda. Hi, Jennifer. Hi, Sophia. So grateful you guys are here. Monday Night Gang is showing up. This is great. It's so I always encourage people, even if you can just take a little road trip away for a weekend or go do something to literally shift the energy that you're in physically, it makes the biggest difference. And we don't realize it, especially when we're just hanging out in our towns and our homes and our same jobs and the same vibrations all the time, that it's so interesting. We as empaths, most of you on here are empaths, are familiar with that term. It's so interesting just to go to a different town and like actually physically feel what the vibe is like. And so you got to really feel that and experience it too with the way you've been treated. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is a different feel, and it's funny because Ben has been here for like a month and a half, I think. I can't remember. Hi, Cece, and hello, Jenny. But yes, he has been trying to explain to me how the vibe feels different to him, and he's accurate. He's right. He's definitely picking up on some different vibes, and I don't know why it is. I'm not sure, but at the same time, I'm just living in the flow. San Francisco is a beautiful place. I really loved going to Alcatraz. You saw that. I
Yes,
really
tell us
loved going
about
to
that a little
Alcatraz.
bit.
It was super fun. Hi, Monica. Thank you. She's one of my California ladies. I absolutely love Monica. We've been talking back and forth for a while, and I was like, I don't know, maybe California, maybe not. Monica, I love it here. So I told my son I want to stay. I don't even want to go home. I'll go home to pack up my dog, but that's about it. Then I want to come here. So I'm excited. And Alcatraz Island, absolutely beautiful. I don't know I don't know what other people pick up there. I'm sure we've seen stuff on Alcatraz that I didn't pick up anything scary. I like the vibrant nature of people and their personalities when they pass over. So going to a prison is a really fun place to experience. I didn't see, feel, or experience anything at all until I got into the actual prison intake area. And then it kind of just like hit me. But I believe that was more of a residual experience from trauma that had taken place from one of the inmates that had came in the intake area, because he was like a really young kid, and I want to say young as in 22 to 25 years old. He was pretty young. He had stolen stuff, and he was sentenced to be in Alcatraz. And I kept hearing like this repeating, this heart sinking feeling that caused me to have to like pull off to the side and let these like mobs of people pass me as I'm sobbing in the corner, because that's what empaths do sometimes when they take it all in. But he kept on repeating that his life was over, that like his family wasn't going to love him anymore, and all of these things. And I was just like, oh, it was so sad to sit with him in that moment and that energy and just be like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry that that's how you felt. And I got to run into one of my favorite people that I have channeled for before in the past, Mr. Capone. I absolutely love that man. I cannot tell you. People are like, he did such crappy crap. And I'm like, okay, so yeah, but they got him on tax evasion, guys. I mean, so let's talk about that for a moment. I've had the beautiful opportunity of talking to him from another place that he came through and channeled. And it was a really cool experience because he was able to teach me stuff that he had done when he was alive that was actually great and for the greater good of his community that I didn't know about because that's not what we were taught. So I was really excited to be able to Google some of the stuff that he did, and it was all accurate. So I got to see him again yesterday when I went to Alcatraz, and it was just cute because if you've ever channeled for spirit, they do remember you. Spirit remembers who you are. They're like, hey, how are you doing? And it's one of those vibes again. He was bragging about his room because he didn't get to stay in the same room as everybody else, and he thought it was kind of cool that he got special treatment because, you know, even though he was this mean tax evasion person, he was able to have better digs than everybody else. We did not get to see that room, by the way, but at the same time, he was super ecstatic about it. And I also got to see what I think was a boiler room maintenance worker. But at the same time, I'm just gathering that based on how he looked. So I feel like he was more of a boiler room guy, but there's so many people there and it makes it hard to talk to people spirit wise when you've got all this other energy around you. So I would have loved to have been able to be there by myself and be able to talk to spirit because that's where I jam the best, but that wasn't the case. So it's a beautiful place. I think anybody who has not visited and wants to visit, go ahead, bucket list that crap because it's pretty cool.
I haven't been there, but I've heard really cool stories and energies and things like that. And it's a sad place. It's not an easy thing at all. And I love, when I truly do believe that when we are up, in the heavenly realms and at a soul level in the other dimensions of the non-physical, that we're pure, and whatever our ego did in this lifetime, it's forgiven. And we've all been sinners and saints, and we've been through many different, not all of us, but most of us in some way or another throughout each of our lifetimes. And we come back to learn balance and to grow. And so I just appreciate that you brought that up.
It is. It's really cool. I don't know. I think that that's one of the things that I hope to help people understand with spirit, because I think it boils over to humanity. If we can get to a place where we understand that, there's right and wrong morally speaking. I mean, there's good and bad things that we're doing, but it's all part of what we're experiencing for a reason. So even the ugliest human in our eyes is experiencing what they are in the realm of their own cycle, whatever. But I think it gives humanity a better opportunity to forgive and essentially not carry the baggage that other people have placed on them once they kind of understand the process of how this goes. And it's really weird that you brought that up that way. My son and I were just talking about this today. He was watching a documentary on Elam. I don't know if you know that place, but it was a student pretty much camp for troubled kids that probably were more on the autistic spectrum of kids. They went there. And he goes, parents and these people who treated these kids like that, they need to be punished. And I'm like, okay, so what is punishment? What is punishment? What do you think punishment should be? Because, I think that what happens to us on the other side and what happens through our karma and our teachings is more of a punishment than putting somebody in a prison system to sit by themselves and just kind of replay the same traumatic cycles over and over again. What's the point in that? It's not going to help anybody. It's not going to help them grow or understand or experience. You're essentially placing them around the same people who taught them to be the same people over and over again. So criminals are going to do criminal crap. That's just how it goes. You really want to see people grow and thrive, put them around different people with different perspectives and try to open up their mindset that way. And so we had a good talk about that because of exactly that communication. So I think it's really cool to have people understand how it works on the other side. There is no hell. It's just where we go. There's a place we go consciously. and we're all a part of the big pot that is boiling. And so that's why we're mirrors for each other, because you're a part of that same system. You're me, I'm you, we're all together, we're here. That's why I love Mandee so much, by the way, guys, because the woman has pieces of me that I haven't unlocked yet. And she's teaching me every time I talk to her that, like, I have that in me. So, like, my spice is good, but I really want that nurturing mother too. That would be great to surface right now.
hey, to each our own, and we're both bringing it in our own amazing, magical ways. And sometimes I want more of your spice, and I wish I had a little bit more energy sometimes, and but it's all perfect, and so are we, and that's just it. Sometimes we need to take space from things. We need to take a breath and look at our own perspectives and tune in and see what our soul and our spirit are inviting us to look at. And one of my favorite prescriptions, if you will, or medicines that I recommend for people is to, if you're feeling really stuck or really overwhelmed and you just can't get out of all your own kind of traumas and loops, is to go volunteer, to go do something different, and sometimes just get off of your train and into someone else's or something else's. And being of service can move mountains. It's amazing what can happen when you just go and forget about all your problems and show up and help someone. I was helping an amazing friend who was losing a husband to cancer a while ago, and she loved to go and like help other people do stuff, because she's like, I can't think about this all day every day. Like, I can't be a part of this. I need to go and like be a normal person, and being of service would help her to think and problem solve and all kinds of amazing things. So I don't know. It's all, it's all interesting, but it's all perfect. And wherever you're at right now, just know that you're held. There's a lot of rewiring happening right now. There's a lot of rerouting. We really crossed into a whole new energetic plane over the past month, especially, but definitely past week or so. And there's a lot of rewriting of relationships with ourselves, with others, with the way we want to be and associate with the world. There's clearly a lot of heavy things happening right now. There's a lot of things that could be distracting if we allow it to be. And there's also opportunities to stay a little bit more on each of our own games. So it's interesting energy this week.
It is a very interesting. I feel like it's all been in the making for a couple months, and it's just weird how it keeps kind of like it's growing and growing and growing. And it's really fun to see the transformation, not only in yourself, but also clients who are like, Eureka, I got it. I understand. And then they send you that email and they let you know, hey, by the way, I just want you to know. And then you're like, yes, because that's all it's about. And I love that epiphany state in people, because it makes them feel good and it helps build their confidence level too, that they can do it and they can overcome and they can jump through whatever hurdle and hoop. It's not easy, guys. It's ugly sometimes. We all go through the ugly. So just keep that in mind. I am going to say hello to Michelle and Tracy and Lynn. And we have our beautiful people. Hi, Carrie. We didn't see you, but now I'm seeing you because, and Carrie says, I love San Francisco. I lived there for years. I hated to leave. Definitely left my heart there. Well, if I find your heart, I will send it to you in a box so you don't feel like it's missing. And I do love her eucalyptus trees. She told me that there's eucalyptus trees and they are everywhere, Mandee. It's like the whole flippin' place in San Francisco is like littered with nothing but metaphysical and just it's wonderful. I was like standing next to a tree yesterday, just like, I love the way this feels. Like, just breathe it in. It's in my lungs. It's not the prettiest smell in its raw form, but good Lord, I love it. Sophia, amazing. Hello. She says, Jennifer, so far so good. Looking forward to the weekend already. How about you? I love that you guys talk to each other. She says, haha, it was good. I got to decompress a bit. It was needed. Yes, definitely the weekend vibes. Glenda's exactly. Sophia, real-time divine justice would be awesome. You're with my son, Sophia. This is my son and what he said to me today, which is, I'm not putting you down at all. My son is probably one of the most wise characters I've ever met in my life. Like, he's way beyond in years. He gets it. But it's so funny because when we talk about stuff like this, his form is so on point, but at the same time, he still has those pieces of like, we got to do this now because it's just not fair.
That's That's a good little topic to talk about, because I think, as humans, as feelers, as people who want to create a change and see this world be a little bit of a better place, like, sacred anger is something that comes up. And triggers are real and they're there. They're opportunities to heal. They're also opportunities to sometimes see like what imbalance is happening. The example we use all the time is if you see someone kicking a puppy on the street, like, most people are going to be pretty pissed off about it. And that's normal and divine and it's okay. However, there is this thing called divine justice where things do kind of work their way out. Sometimes it is important for you to be the one to speak your truth or to stand up or to interfere. And if you can do that in a non-violent way, then that's ideal. But when we're fighting with fire, when we see someone going a little crazy and we show up and we engage with them, it just ends up kind of fire and fire just kind of create a bigger fire, right? And it doesn't really transmute or shift or recalibrate at all. And so when you're finding yourself really frustrated and you can't control what's happening and you're wishing that there was some sort of punishment or something happening for someone or something, it's so important to take a few breaths and tune into how you're feeling and ask yourself if it's something that you can maybe shift or transmute. Because a lot of times when we feel a lot of anger and rage and hold on to it, it's kind of like punishing ourselves for something someone else did, right? And we're like holding all of that in. And so it's important to honor it. And it's important to maybe act on it if you can. So like maybe write a letter or maybe go and take some positive action steps. Like if you're really pissed off that you're seeing trash on your street all the time and people are littering, like it sucks. It's not fun. But you can maybe put up some signs asking people not to. You can start a trash cleanup. Like there's things we can do to combat it instead of just letting it fester with some of this kind of rage energy. And it's important to maybe, if you can, let that fire be a creative outlet and stoke the fire within you.
I absolutely love that. I love it all because it's true. It's all true. Everything that we do, we kind of have to flip it and see it in a different way. And then maybe we can grow from it, even though it's like hard in the moment. I mean, you're going through your stuff, I'm going through my stuff, and all of it's really dealing with the same things, just in different forms. It's just different forms. And it's because I feel personally that right now, all that darkness energy is coming to the light. So we can have these peaceful moments that we've been working on for so long. And when we were talking about the people, specifically Pat Longo, my mentor, when we first had met and she was talking to me and we were talking about some of the cycles, the things, the traumatic experiences that I had had in my life, she was like, Crystal, a really neat way to look at certain things is that the person who is the worst to you and gives it to you the worst, like the person who caused the most pain in your life, you should really thank them. And I was like, what? And she was like, yeah, you should thank them. She said, because they endured the ugly karma to help you grow. They gave up their opportunity to grow in this lifetime, knowing that it would serve your purpose instead of theirs. So if you look at it that way, it's kind of like, whoa, it kind of got my heart a little bit in that moment. I wasn't ready to understand it. I can understand today better than I did 12 years ago. But when you think of it that way and you know how it works on the other side and you know what we're here for and what we're growing through, like I explained to Corey in the Ellen kids, or however you say that, I was like, if you want to look at it this way, I said, it is a crappy situation. Everything that they dealt with, everything that they put up with, the abuse, the torture, these kids, like they're serious treatment issues. But at the same time, we really should take the time to thank every child that had to go through that system. They did it for the greater good. So children today who have mental illnesses or autistic on the spectrum and act out a little bit more and we don't understand, that's where testing comes in now. That's where different treatment forms come in, because these kids had to go through this hell and it had to come to the light. We're better people now today because of it. And we try really hard to kind of work with these things a little bit better than just throwing them into a school system that's like, these kids suck and they're just bad, unruly kids. That's not the case. And so every dark aspect of something that happens in our lifetime or in lifetimes in the past have happened to grow things into the loving place that we see today and are continually growing to that peaceful environment that all of us essentially say we want to see. And so even though there's darkness and there's ugliness and there's bad and people have to go through it, they're doing it for a sole purpose and a reason to help future generations. And they're beautiful, amazing people for being able to take on that for us. And so, yes, it's hard. Bless them with love. Every single one of them. Like, bless the bad situation with love. Surround them in peace. Help them find clarity. You can give energy. You can't take their problems from them. But if you're empath, like Mandee talked about, or you feel like you have the ability to send energy or heal or have those hot Reiki hands that give off, magnetic energy when you try to push them together, if you have that in you and you're sitting there and you're thinking about something ugly, dark, and deep, send energy to it, because you're doing that. It's not just something you're thinking. Everything spiritual is literally like thought. If you think it's happening, it's doing it. There is no coincidence. It's happening in that moment. The energy is transforming something into a different state. And so just keep giving clarity, keep wrapping them in love, keep blessing them with love, keep giving them in different opportunities of growth, understanding, peace. Do whatever you can on your side and know that it's taking place. That's literally one of the first things that I learned how to do in this, because I felt so empty and I couldn't fix situations and take things. So that was one of the first things that Pat taught me to do, was to give energy to situations, but also bless people, because yeah, they're sucky people. There's some sucky people on the planet, and they've done some really crappy stuff. It is what it is, but think about what their next lifetime is going to be because of some of that they endured. So we have to look at things in two different forms and spectrums, and it helps put it into a perspective that a lot of us don't generally know until we start the growth phase.
And it helps to build a bridge to trust, and to trusting in spirit and the divine, and that things are working out the way they need to. And we really have, like, as a humanity, we've come a really far way in the way we're treating one another. Is there plenty of room to grow? Absolutely. Is there still lots of modern day slavery and horrible sex crimes and things like that? For sure. However, we're not beating each other in the streets the way we used to. We're not, stoning each other as frequently on the planet, as we used to. There's a lot of things that women have rights for the first time in the past 100 years. At least in this most modern day society, maybe not in some of our ancient societies. However, what we're doing is, every time we show up for these really human experiences, we really are paving the path to be a little bit lighter for those who come after us. And those who come after us are us. We keep coming back and walking this and doing this and growing our souls. So there's so much more than we can possibly even think of, and it's all divine.
So I'm going back up to comments.
Okay.
Just wanted you to know what I was doing. So Glenda says, this week is nice and hectic. I'm in the middle of the book Dodging Energy Vampires.
That's one of my
It's opening my eyes. She probably got it from you, Mandee, because we talk about that book a lot, actually. So right. I'm sure she probably was like, yes.
Right over here.
And then Carrie says, exactly. Hi, Mitchell. And then
Dodging Energy Vampires, an empath's guide to evading relationships that drain you and restoring your health and power. Dr. Christiane Northrup's an incredible teacher, leader, healer. She's a OBGYN, and then she also came out kind of later on out of her spiritual closet, and she's really able to teach us so much about controlling our own energy and not allowing it to be penetrated as much as it usually is. And my favorite part is when you open it up, it's all garlic on the inside, which I think is kind of fun and a little nerdy and cute.
I was like, I love that though.
Yeah.
I mean, if they don't, maybe that's why they don't bug me as much now, because I eat garlic. I think you have to measure that shit with your soul. There's no proper measurement for garlic at all. I put in as much as I need. There's no proper measurement.
Oh, so no, I got to send Monica some love.
Yes, I was going to see if possibly you had your cards available. Maybe wanted to pull some cards for her, and then I can also let her know maybe a little bit of what I'm picking up, because they're doing this to me, and when they're splitting my mind in two different parts, that usually means that part of my brain is more active than a different part of my brain. Generally speaking, they give that to me when it comes to empathic / analytical, or being able to be open to spirit and being a little bit more analytical. So those two parts of our brain kind of clash. And what they're doing is they're doing this to me, which means that right now two parts of his brains are not necessarily as active together as what they should be. And I almost want to say that it's not, even though it's not his ability to speak and communicate, they're almost making me feel like his comprehension is actually still on point, because they're taking me into his eyes. And that means to me that he's still able to have eye contact with you and almost try to talk to you with his eye set. Now, Monica, I can tell you the one thing that I know about you is that you are truly open and empathic yourself. I know that you've got a lot of stuff going on in your life still, because they're making me feel like it hasn't slowed down for you since the last time I talked to you. So I'm going to say, please do me this one favor and maybe ask that beautiful wife of yours to do a little bit more Reiki on you, because they're really making me feel like it would be wonderful if she stepped into the process. And I know she is, because they're giving me a round of applause. And I think she's actually stepped up and taking on a lot more, not in a bad way, in a great way, to kind of help de-burden you from some of the situations that you've been going on, because it's been almost like a constant roller coaster ride for you over the past couple of years. And so they're really wanted to bring some space of love and joy back into your life. When it comes to dad, I know you guys know this. I want to make sure that I give this. This is my PSA. I can't see death. I choose not to. I don't want to. I can't stop it from happening. But they're making me do this. They're doing this, which means dad's really strong and he's actually quite the fighter. And I don't think he's ready to give up on himself yet. So don't be shocked or surprised in the next couple days or in the next week you don't start seeing some like strength building back in him in some form or fashion, because they're making me feel like he really wants to have that. Once again, please take that with a grain of salt and be open to the aspect that just because he may have an upswing, he may also go back downhill a little bit, okay? Because they're just making me feel like this one hit him pretty hard. And they're almost making me feel as though right now dad's got to kind of get himself back in his own mindset. And this isn't how he wants to be. Dad doesn't like people taking care of him. Dad doesn't want people to stand around him. Dad wants to be his own person. He's used to being independent, and he's used to his own special abilities. And they're just making me feel like this is actually really hard for him, because I don't think he saw it coming at all. They are doing this to me, which does mean to me prior to the stroke taking place, he probably was not mentally capable of being a part of his own thoughts and feelings. And so even though he may have felt some signs and symptoms, I don't think he knew that it was leading to what this is, because they're also making me feel like he had some signs and symptoms prior to. They're taking me into my heart center, which usually means to me that he did have heart issues prior to his passing, specifically in high blood pressure or high cholesterol, probably both based on how they're giving this to me. But they're also making me feel like he didn't really take great care of some of those medical issues and problems, more so because I don't think he knew what he was experiencing. I really don't think he thought that these were symptoms that were going to lead to something like this. So please keep doing what you're doing. They are doing this to me, which means closeness and love. And they're also passing the baton from his heart to yours, which means that you are a lot like dad in a lot of different ways, specifically in your stubbornness. And I do believe that you need to give yourself a round of applause, because even though you feel like essentially you've got your hands tied behind your back right now, you really don't. You're not really getting a lot of options in this space. So you have to give yourself love, and you have to understand that at the end of the day, no matter what decision words and choices that you make going forward in all of these aspects, you're making the right choice based on what your heart is telling you to do, because they're really making me feel like you aren't being given a lot of options. Okay. So please keep that in mind, because they're really making me feel like right now is one of those touch and go moments with you, because you tend to put too much on top of yourself. And in those moments of putting too much on top of yourself, they don't want you to kind of accumulate guilt over things that you can't control. Okay. So please just give yourself a lot of love from this. Stay around him the best way that you are. This means closeness and love again. Stay around him the way that you are. And know that even though you feel as though you're kind of being kept from the situation, I don't think that you're being kept away from it in the physical aspect of some of the things that are kind of coming to the surface. I do want you to know dad's stubborn. He's not talking to me at all. Your guides completely gave me these messages. I think that that's pretty determinate of dad, because sometimes I can channel people who are in a different mindset, like in a stroke or Alzheimer's, something like that, that are still alive. He ain't doing that. He ain't playing that game with me right now, which means he's not passed. And that does mean that he's still holding on pretty strong as he possibly can. So keep that in mind. Also, he loves the water. He loves it when you guys put ice and water around his mouth. They're really making me feel like the poor man is parched right now. And I really feel like he really needs you guys to like, I feel like my body's hot almost. I feel like I hate the claustrophobia. That's the one thing that he's giving me, is like claustrophobia in my body sense. And I can't like move the blankets around and stuff. So please, 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 chapstick, water, ice, something to give him some like coolness into his body center. So that's the only thing that I'm picking up. Mandee?
Yeah, I agree. I pulled a few cards that are very in alignment with a lot of what you said. The first one is great teacher, learn from spiritual experience. This is never a fun situation. It's very scary. It's hard to navigate, especially not knowing what's going to happen. However, this is not one of those, not fun, but kind of sacred opportunities to just observe and show up. They're showing, Monica, that your energy just being there is helping so much. It's helping to heal and facilitate and to bring peace. I don't know if your dad's religious or not, but they are showing just a lot of different ancestors, as well as Jesus and angels, and so many like amazing kind of energies around supporting and helping and healing. So just know that he is, being protected at this time, even though it doesn't seem that way. There's some he's being held is what I just keep showing, and what I keep seeing, and what I keep feeling. Then they said to stand your ground. You get the mountain card. It's really important to just be there, to hold space, to love, and also to really honor whatever it is that's coming up through you. Because the last card that you got as well is the medicine mother, which is to honor your inner knowing. So you're highly intuitive. There's not a lot you can control right now. However, you can trust your intuition, and you can make decisions based on what you think your heart wants most and what seems best for the situation at this time. And they're just showing lots of breathing and lots of water for you too, as much as you can at this time. And we're sending you and your family and your dad so much love.
Okay. While Mandee was doing her thing, I was getting in and doing mine. I'm going to say one thing before I say this next part of me. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a medical professional. I have no certifications, okay? I cannot diagnose or treat anybody, but I can tell you what spirit just showed me. They took me into the base of my skull, down into this area, and then they took me down through my spine. They did give to me what looks to and appears to be bulging discs, and they are making me feel like there are some discs that aren't necessarily working. I feel like they're kind of scraping against each other, but they're really focusing on this part, which is the bundle of nerve systems that go down into where we are, and also blood vessels. And what they're doing is they're constricting blood vessels. I don't know if your dad had an injury at some point in time, because they're doing this to me, which usually means to me that there's like a whiplash that takes place or something like that takes place that kind of offsets how the spine sits in the body altogether. Okay. And so what they're doing is they're taking and they're pulling things apart, and they're stretching things in other ways, which usually means to me, and once again, this isn't going to stop what took place. It's not going to stop anything that's happening at this point in time. And, this is more so things that either if he gets better in the future could probably be worked on or done to him, and or things that maybe could have been done to kind of loosen things up. It gives it a little bit of answers. And you can ask doctors. Like I said, I'm not a medical professional. I can tell you to ask the doctors about this. But what they're doing is they're making me feel like his nerve systems and blood systems in the actual arteries that go into his brain system aren't necessarily pumping the blood as freely as it needs to. And so it's almost like it's pooling in places and causing it to be a little bit thicker than it should be. So I'm not exactly sure. Once again, I can Google, because I'd like to say I'm a smart cookie, but I feel like strokes are kind of caused by like thick blood clots, something along those lines. I may be completely wrong, because it feels almost like there's something kind of popping in my head. So if there's pooling that takes place and then the thing happens, that must be what they're talking about, because how they're presenting it to me is they're building it up and making me feel like it's not necessarily flowing as freely as it needs to. And so possibly working, maybe rubbing his neck for him. I don't know. I'm going to have you tap into your people and ask them what you can do, because I know that you know how to do these things. I know that you yourself have been pretty in tune your whole entire life. And sometimes it's just rubbing his neck and shoulders and helping him be a little bit more comfortable with what that is. But also, you can ask the doctors. I mean, you can tell them a crazy medium on, the interwebs told you these things if you want to. I'm okay with that. But whatever makes it better for you to kind of get some of those answers, because some of those things, I guess, can be moved forward in the future if you guys find out that that's something that he's went through. Okay. Carrie says, oh, that resonates. And that was when you were talking, Mandee. So when you were talking about the things that we're changing and shifting and all those things that are happening to us, that's when she was like, oh, that resonates, because she's amazing. And she likes to give you validation, because she's like, yes, I love her.
I feel you, Carrie. And we're pre-spring right now. So the rerouting is taking place. There's some stirrings happening. Everything's realigning at this time.
And then we have Tracy who says, so I had an interesting thing happen last night that I've been waiting to ask you ladies about. See if you are picking up anything. I always shut my closet door before bed. So do I. Weird things in my closet. And I have since I can remember. I woke up about 1:30 and my closet door was open. My kids were in bed, my husband is on a business trip, and my dogs were in bed with me. I wasn't scared. I got up, I shut the door again, and I went to the bathroom and came back, and it was still shut. It's been on my mind all damn day. So do you want to know if it was spirit or...
I feel like this is kind of a funny one, and the angels are laughing already. I just feel like this was actually an honest mistake and you left it open and you're playing tricks on yourself. This is my pendulum. I'm going to move over here where we can see it. Angels, show me neutral. Neutral is like a circle. Angels, show me yes. Yes goes straight back and forth, like towards you guys. Angels, show me no. No goes like side to side the other way. There it goes. Okay, show me neutral. Back in our spin. Angels, did Tracy accidentally somehow leave the door open? Yes. And what they're showing me actually is that it just like you closed it, but it didn't like latch or something. And there was like vibration or walking or another door closing or some draft that just kind of like wiggled it open a little bit. And they're just giggling and saying that because I think they were watching you, you know, with all of this. However, you really are starting to connect and like attract communication more with spirit. But they aren't going to scare you at all. And they were just giggling because you were kind of, they're just showing that it was like it was on your heart and mind all day. And they were, watching you kind of be freaked out by it. But they want you to know you're super, super safe and protected and held and loved. And that all communication coming in for you is going to be really positive. So you can trust in that.
I absolutely love it. Everything she just said. I saw the door being unlatched. So you know how the little thing sticks into the door? They showed me that it kind of got caught, but it didn't get caught. So it just slowly went and like opened back up. That's literally what they showed me. So it's so funny that you did that with the pendulum. There you go, Tracy. Please get yourself a pendulum, my dear.
Tracy said, well, that's boring. And also, Keisha, we don't do readings like that on this page. And for anybody who does want a reading at any point from Crystal or I, you can ask us on here. You can reach out to us on our website. And for those of you who are tuning in, most amazing readers who have a lot of morality and integrity, they allow their clients to come to them and approach them for services. So if somebody's preying upon you, I would always second guess that.
I had somebody, I seriously, Mandee, cannot understand. And I'm saying this now because also I have people who I'm grateful for my clients that have my phone number and tell me this stuff. It is the weirdest thing that people try to like pretend to be me. I am a no-name medium from Michigan, for the love of all that's holy, okay? No-name medium from freaking Michigan. And I have people stealing my TikToks, downloading it, and making a fake profile and then sending people messages. I do not send you messages. I do not do that. And if I do send you a message, hear me loud and clear. If I feel so in tune to send you a message out of nowhere for something you did not ask me for, it's this much money for you because it was divine intervention. Okay. It was literally spirit pulling me like a Google Maps person saying, contact them. I will not charge you. Okay. So if you get contacted by anybody claiming to be me, that's got a whole profile of stuff out there, and then trying to be like, hey, I got this deal for you on the side, so I'm contacting you through these messages, I don't pimp myself out like that because I am a firm believer that people need to be led to who they want to be channeled from, because it's an energy thing, y'all. It's an energy thing. I am not going to force myself upon you. So thank you, Mandee, for doing that. I did delete the comment, and I did what I did because it's in bad taste. But at the same time, if you ever get secret messages from Crystal, ask me first and say, hey, how much it's going to cost? Because if I'm sending you a message, it's going to be free. So to all future scammers trying to be me, you're not going to make much money. I run my business different, y'all. Sorry for your luck. People are crazy right now. Sorry, I had to say that. I got this like a couple days ago. Somebody sent me something. I was like, oh my gosh.
People are
Oh,
crazy.
thank
I have
you.
several friends who are have like, you know, social media stuff. It just sucks. It's like it takes so much work to get your business up and going. And then you have like these hackers copy everything and wreak havoc. And even my favorite teachers, even Dr. Northrup and Rebecca Campbell and other people, they deal with it all the time. And it's just, we have to be alert. You know, the internet is such a wonderful place to bridge these connections and connect with soul family and spirit and get in tune with so many wonderful things. But unfortunately, we just have to be aware and we have to be smart too.
Yeah. So people like if you do get something like that, just go ahead and turn in the profile, like report them, because it's not me. I swear it's not me. It won't be me. It'll never be me unless I'm like, hey, so-and-so's coming through for you. And I just got to tell you this message. Are you okay hearing it or not? That's how it'll come to you. It won't be like, hey, I've got this special that I'm only running on the weekend and blah, blah, blah. I don't work on the weekend. It's my time off.
And sometimes people will say that to you to like lure you in and then ask you for money or more information later. So just be really aware.
Don't send money to me, not unless you go through it in the strategic way and you contact me. I'll never contact you unless I do not charge. So all people who want to scam people in the future, you're a little screwed with me. I'm going to be so loud about that nobody's going to be able to in the future get away with it. Hopefully they get it. Kathy says, as frequently, correct me up, Mandee. Galinda, yep, the earth is flat. Face the facts. I love that conviction in your title. I just want you to know. It says, how is it going, guys? It's going really great for me. And Mandee says it's going good for her too today. Jennifer says, on fire. Maria Day, hello. Anything for me, please? New here and to this. My husband passed and other very close loved ones too. Spirit, please. Also, will P and I develop a serious relationship? That's a Mandee question. A serious romantic relationship in the future. Thanks. I'm going to say that's more of a Mandee thing, the love thing, but I'm also got a spirit doing this for me, which means time out, because they're actually making me feel like, and Mandee, please pull cards too, because you do more of this love stuff than I do, but they're pulling me back like a rubber band, which means that they're trying to get you to pull back in this moment. I have like boom, boom, boom taking place, which means you've lost a lot of people in a very short period of time. And I don't think people fully understand how traumatic it is to lose people within like a 1, 2, 3 to 5 year basis from each other. If you haven't fully grieved the loss of one person and then somebody else that you know, love gets very sick and then passes, goes downhill very traumatically for you, that's not enough time to heal. And then you have this trauma on top of this trauma on top of this trauma. And so it's not necessarily that we shouldn't like go forth with our life and live our life. That's not it at all. But they're really making me feel like you haven't taken the time to fully understand your feelings for who you are and who you are today versus who you were a couple years ago. And so what they're doing is they keep giving me wall after wall after wall. And that means you're facing some obstacles right now in your life that are probably making you want to pull your hair out because you don't quite understand why things are so hard, and how they're playing out for you. And it's not that they're trying to block you from things at all. They're trying to get you to dive in a little bit deeper because they're really making me feel like you have a feeling, because when you feel, it's very deep. And when it's deep, it hurts a lot more. Okay. And so it's like this whole Hoover Dam situation that's happening. And every time you get those emotions that come up to the surface, it like overwhelms you so much that you don't know how to catch your breath. Okay. And so what they're doing is they're embracing you with a lot of love. And they're making me feel like right now isn't necessarily the time to focus on 100%, I guess, another relationship outside of yourself. They're really making me feel like we want you to love you and we want you to relook at your life from this gesture and see the path changes that are taking place so you can see who you are as a person right now. I would love to tell you that I have spirit stepping up. I don't. Those were guides, angels coming through for you. And that's what they gave to me. So I'm sorry I did not have actual loved ones come through for you. Your guides are doing this to me, which does mean love, and they are giving I love yous. They're also giving me head to toe numbness, which does mean that one of your people did cross over in a state of head to toe numbness. And I do want to say that this was probably a physical illness based on how they're presenting it to me, because I feel almost like I'm in a coma setting prior to me taking my last breath. They're making it very heavy for me to breathe. And they're also taking me into like my actual throat, which usually means to me that they were intubated or something took place that actually made it hard for them to actually voice their communication. And I do feel like my throat hurts a little bit. And so please just know that they're giving you lots of love because they're lifting you above their head and they're punching a time card, which means to me that you were there around the clock as much as you possibly could be. And they're also making me feel like you probably took care of this illness and this person's life a little bit more than even nurses and doctors. They're really making me feel like you specifically stepped in for this person above everything else. And so I hate saying this word. I hate saying it, but it's the only way that it like gets people to click. People think of like the angel of death, you know, and they're like, oh, it's so scary. Angels of death are not scary. They are beautiful, beautiful angels that come and help the transition from one state to another. And they're making me feel like you essentially are this beautiful angel that steps in and helps people find closure, happiness, love, peace, communication, embracing love to help let go from this state, this earthly state to the other side. And I don't think you know that about yourself. They're making me feel like you don't know what you mean to these people and how special you were in that moment. And I think that that's part of the problem that you have. They're going to make me cry. I love your people. But they're really making me feel like you have such a hard time embracing yourself for what you lay on the table because you constantly question and second guess all the things that took place, not knowing if you did it right and not knowing if you did it as good as what they would have wanted you to do because other people have had conversations that didn't exactly like the way you carried things out. You need to know that you were perfect in those moments. You did everything you possibly could. And you need to know that they left this earth in such a state of peace because your hand was the one that led them over to the other side. So please remember what you did was magical. There's a gift in that. People make money doing that. They're called death doulas, okay? You have a gift. I know that we don't want that with our loved ones. I know that, and I know that's heavy. But your people embrace you with so much love and admiration because they're really making me feel like they couldn't do that if the tables were turned or flipped because they don't know how, okay? So please know you are being embraced with love, and I'm going to let Mandee take over. Sorry, Mandee, I talk too much.
Girl, don't you be sorry. All right. So similar, but we're going to talk a little bit more about you, Maria, and the messages from your angels and guides. Also, I think I should see Maria comment. I'm scrolling back down real quick. She said, thank you so much. How do I know who my spiritual guides are? So we will follow up with that question too and have a little bit of a talk about that. But first, what I'm connecting with are angels higher self, your team coming in here. So we pulled a few tarot cards to take a look at what's going on. So the first one that you got is the 7 of Pentacles. It's really important to take a look at your own well right now and all of your resources and how you're showing up for yourself. Clearly, you've been through a lot of loss and trauma and heartache. However, there's a lot of spark and initiation and things coming for you at this time. So it's really important to get clear on how you're managing all of your personal resources. So time, energy, money, what kind of things you're putting in your body, whether it's the music you're listening to or the food you're eating or the type of energy you're allowing yourself to be around. It's really important to just let yourself take a look at all of those things. And they also just don't want you to worry too much financially right now if you are, because things are really starting to come into fruition with that. And then as far as your relationship goes, with the potential romantic one, we get the Page of Cups, which is kind of dipping our toes into a new foundation and something new and interesting. We get the 9 of Cups, which is feeling super loved and stable and secure within ourselves and within our relationship. And just kind of the world in general, feeling like it's kind of a more healthy and safe place. And then you get the 2 of Cups. What the angels are showing, which is like a lover's card, which is paired together. What the angels are showing too is that there's really a lot of divine timing to this matter, as well as trust. At this moment, they're encouraging you to say no, to wait, to pause, to postpone, and to trust in the divine timing of all of this coming together and working out and connecting in a really beautiful and sacred way. They're showing the initiation, rite of passage. You're going somewhere sacred. you're still healing a lot of layers, and there's a lot of really wonderful things coming in for you at this time. And though there's potential of romantic relationship, they're showing to kind of easy style it and let some of your other creative fires get stoked at this time as well, while we're being patient. And then last but not least, take a break. A life's work, not a season. Get off the treadmill. They're showing probably just some ways, many of us deal with grief or harder times is we kind of just get into like the same old habitual habits. We keep doing the same old things over and over. It's like being on a treadmill. It's important to just switch that up. Do whatever you can do to add to your routine, to start changing how you embrace life a little bit more each and every day. Let yourself seriously take some actual deep breaths, go for some walks, connect with nature, maybe take a bath, and let yourself just take a break and trust. You can trust too that your guides and your angels, they're showing your husband is on that team as well. Everything is divine and heavenly sent, and you can trust in that. And you can talk too. Talk to them, talk to him, because they are there for you. Thank you so much for tuning in and for asking us some questions. And we hope that helps a little bit. Crystal, you're on mute, sister.
Lord have mercy. I'm so sorry. I don't even know how I muted myself. Fingers, fat fingers. But did you want to follow up on her question about how she knows who her spiritual guides are? See, I'm under a different, I don't know. I don't believe that we know our spirit guides. I believe that some of our loved ones can become guide roles for us. But I'm a different person when it comes to spirit guides. I don't try to teach people how to see their guides as people and have names like Tom from Portland.
I'm the same way. So for me, I connect mostly with angels, and there's different signs. There's different ways of knowing for different people in different situations, but mostly your number one guide is your higher self, your consciousness, your soul, the part of you that knows most from each and every lifetime, and is here to guide you. Then we have actual like guardian angels, and we have ancestors. We can also have animals sometimes. Sometimes we'll have random souls that are like, seem random, but like our soul family that maybe we like incarnated in a certain lifetime with, and then they're joining us in this lifetime to guide us energetically. What's important, I think, in developing that relationship, I just call them all angels and my team. And I just start talking and communicating and asking for help. Like, you can't ask for anything too big or too little with your angels, whether it's a parking spot, whether it's some time off, whether it's help with a really hard decision or some heartbreak or getting through the hardest time in your life. Your angels are there to help and support you. So it's more about just developing trust and starting to ask them maybe to give you signs. And then as you start to communicate more and more, you will start to get certain signs from certain people and certain loved ones. Loved ones they're showing always give us specific, or not always, but often will give us a specific sign or message in order to communicate with us, just so that you're truly connecting with their soul. A lot of times it'll come in animal form or a bird form, something like that. A flower, just little things that end up being a symbol. And it's a subtle thing. It's a subtle message, but it's there for you. So just take some breaths and ask them to start revealing themselves to you and communicating, and they will.
And to see the clarity when they give you the messages. A lot of us, Mandee did that beautiful reading prior to for Maria, and I think that's who we're still talking to right now. But in that, you said something about getting off the treadmill. That has been a huge thing. That's actually one of my symbols. That's something that spirit gives me in a reading as a symbol, is a treadmill. And when I'm seeing somebody walking on a treadmill, it means that you're an autopilot. It means that every single day you wake up, you're doing the same thing. You live out the same life every day, and then you go to sleep, you repeat every day. And that gets so stagnant. We get so stagnant. We get comfortable generally in that stagnant energy. We want more, like we really want more, and we ask for more and we beg for more. But every time more comes to us, we don't know how to see it because we're on that treadmill. We're walking. We just have our focus. We've lost the ability to see outside of our eyesight. And so get off the treadmill, like literally get off the treadmill.
Faults. Like we've been programmed into all this.
It's society.
Like we're programmed into this all day, every day. It's super hard to combat. This is where the consciousness comes in. This is where showing up for ourselves comes in. This is where stepping into kind of our God and goddess energy and being like, what is actually going on? How many hours have I wasted scrolling on social media? Like this morning, I was walking my dogs and I was thinking, I've been starting to get like a little too into social media again. Like, what can I do to like replace that? And I'm like, I could probably spend 20 minutes a day teaching my dog like a new trick, literally, in the time that I like waste watching stupid fucking videos about God knows what, just because it gets your attention or whatever it is, because we're so instant gratification and none of us are perfect. And then we've got all of the subliminal messaging and all of the, constant ads, in our faces, resonating on lower vibrational energies such as guilt and criticism and fear and shame, that it really does take work to like combat this and to shift our vibrations. But when we can get a little more conscious and realize, wait, I am on the treadmill again. Oh, I'm doing the same thing again. Sometimes that's nice. Like discipline and devotion, they're a really important sacred thing too. Getting up and showing up for yourself, whatever that looks like, whatever your medicine is, it's important. However, letting it get a little spicy or shifting it up sometimes, especially like we were talking about earlier, when you can't get out of your own kind of shitty thinking and nothing's getting better for you, it's really important to change up your activities. My mom always says, move a muscle, move a thought. And a lot of times, like literally, if you pair your physical life force energy with an impulse or with a thought within 5 seconds. Mel Robbins, who's an incredible teacher and motivation coach, teaches us the 5-second rule. If you get the impulse like, oh, I need to get up and go to the gym, and you're sitting on the couch, if you don't pair that impulse with actual life force and energy within 5 seconds, it disappears. What happens 10 minutes later? Oh, I should get the hell up and I should go and do this. But if you don't act on it, then that motivation shifts away. So there really is a small window of pairing our impulse with our actual physical energy. And the body really is a faithful servant of the conscious mind. And this is how we co-create. This is how we manifest. This is how we heal and grow and glow up. And it's awesome. So if you're overwhelmed by anything in the world right now, just do your best to take some breaths. Take a few moments, come back into you, do something that you can do to help yourself feel a little more at ease, content, and enjoy if you can, because it'll help. And if you can't, write it out, channel it out, cry it out. And then when it's over, allow yourself to move on instead of dwelling in that same space. Sorry, a little bit of a tangent. No, you have so many powerful energies in here tonight.
I was going to say, never apologize, Mandee. When you are on fire, you're on fire. But it's all very important, because I think that's a lot of things. And when you said it's not necessarily bad all the time, that's accurate too, because sometimes we're in the midst of a change and we're at a stop sign for a reason. We don't know what we want because we've been on that treadmill for so long. We just know we want more. Okay, well, what is that more? What does that feel like for you? What does that like look like for you? Smell like, taste like? Those are all the things we have to put into the process of what more is. And so sometimes it's okay to be on the treadmill and understand and just be like, okay, I'm on the treadmill right now, but I'm also mindful that this isn't what I want to be, or this isn't how I want things to be, or whatever. I want it this way, or I want it this way. And that's putting little sprinkles into the life spice, so to speak, of what it is that you're creating. And so you're just trying to figure it out along the way. So be nice to yourself and understand there are reasons for the stop sign. Something isn't working, and the stop sign is to give us a minute to really focus on what we want. So then when we put that manifestation into process, we know exactly how it feels and we're ready to receive it then. Because if we jump before we're ready, we're not going to get it, because our mind and heart aren't in the right place anyway. And then it's going to be overwhelming when it comes. And so it's really just like Mandee said, a balance of understanding the two things and why they're happening and what we want out of the things. And so just be nice to yourself, but also remember, and I'm going to do this very quickly. I don't know if you guys can see. 222 is somebody's number. You can pause this. Where is it?
What is this one book? Like the book of magical angel numbers and wisdom?
Yes. Oops, sorry. I will give that because it's beautiful. Take a screenshot. And then we also have 444. And I'm also, because I would love to sit and talk all night, guys, but I'm in California right now, and my husband's going to be home soon from work. So I kind of have to. I was like, I have to go. So wrong way. And there's 444. So go ahead and pause it and read it. And this is the Angel Numbers book by Mystic Michaela. It is literally like, I take it wherever I go. It's like Mandee's You Can Heal Your Life. It's a Bible to my soul, because I see this is how my angels and guides talk to me. They give me numbers And so I always carry the book with me when I want to know what those numbers mean. And they, like, you can look them up. You don't need the book. You can Google what your angel sequence numbers are based on how you're seeing them. But also, like, follow your gut. With me, when I Googled, they didn't quite touch on me because all the things that you Google are really the same. And so it didn't really put it into perspective. I found this book and I was like, holy crap, I love it because it actually sits with what is going on in my life at that time. And once again, I had to kind of say this. This is my mom. This is Alice. She
Aww. Hi,
lost
Alice.
one of
I'm
her
so honored
pets.
to hear.
She lost one of her pets, a beautiful German Shepherd. At old age, she was just an old lady, and she came and visited her, and it was a beautiful, magical experience for my mom. And I was so grateful that she got to experience that. With Sheba was her name. She was like, she was laying there at night and she could see teeth, like she could see the teeth, and she thought it was the dog that she has now. That's a black lab puppy. And then he was laying next to her. She was like, okay. So in that moment, she knew that it was Sheba coming to visit. And I love that for her because she had a really, really hard time having to make choices and decisions to make Sheba comfortable. And I think that people don't always understand just how special our animals are to us and how they are family
the most
too.
special.
Right. So it was a cool experience for her, and I love that. But also, my mom sees ghosts too. So we don't always see the people that we love on the other side the way we see other people's loved ones. But it's always good when we do, and we're like, yes, I saw it, and it made her very emotional. But she was grateful to be able to have that time with her. So I thought that was cool. Mandee, my dear, how can people find you?
Yes. Please give us a like, a share, a follow on SeaGoddessHealingArts.com. We're also on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We have all kinds of classes and different things coming up. I am Mandee Elam. You can also follow me on my personal page, or it's easy to get a hold of us. Crystal, what about you?
You can get a hold of me on YouTube at Spirit Speaks with Mitten Medium, or you can go to my website at midmittenmedium.com. I hope you all have a beautiful day. I hope that you're experiencing life in a wonderful way today, and don't let any crazy bog you down, because it sounds like we're going through a little bit of a crazy shakeup right now, y'all. So don't let it bog you down. Get off the treadmill. Go take a breath. I told Mandee beforehand, I'm literally looking at a mountain that I'm going to climb sometime this week. I am literally from my hotel room. I'm like, I'm going to conquer that bitch.
Yeah, we're holding you to it. You're following. Can't wait to see the pictures.
Oh, the pictures. I'm going to Instagram the crap out of that thing, because
Yeah,
this is
you
literally
are.
like, it's one of those things. Mandee knows, y'all know, if you follow me, I feel like this whole week is like me conquering a great fear, essentially to uprooting myself and replanting myself somewhere else in different soil. And that mountain is a direct reflection of what I've essentially been working for. And I'm like, okay, I see you. I'm going to get you.
You
So
got this.
be prepared to see some Insta sunrise, sunset photos at some point in time after my 2-hour hike.
And thank you all so much for joining and tuning in, for asking questions, for commenting, for creating this incredible community. Thank you to all of our new people for the first time you've been here. Please check us out. We have other shows. We've got this one. So much for you. And we're just so grateful that you're here. And we're just sending love always.
Thank you, guys. You have a beautiful night. Bye.
Bye.